Good morning, everybody. As we go to the Chitas of today, we're holding in the portion of Vayeshev. We're holding in the book of Genesis, chapter 37, verse number 12. His brothers went to go to pasture their father's flock, Shechem, in Shechem. Rashi says, Nokar al S is a dot, and the S because they didn't, and it indicates they went on to pasture themselves. They were out to do something for themselves. And Yisrael tells to Yosef, your brothers are in Shechem, and let me go and send them to you, send you to them. And and he said, Hineni, here I am. Now she says, this is an expression, Hineni. Whenever you heard the word Hineni, it's denoting the humility and eagerness. He was eager to fulfill his father's command, even though he knew that his brothers hated him. And he said, he said, go out and see see how your brothers, the piece of your brothers, how they're doing. And go and see how are the sheep doing. And bring me back something. And he sent him from the depths of Hebron. And Yosef arrived in Shechem. Now she says, from the valley, from the depths of Hebron, but not Hebron was on a mountain. As it says, they went up to the south and came to Hebron. So what does it mean from the depths of Hebron? However, it means he sent him because of the profound counsel of the righteous man who's buried in Hebron. He in essence was going to fulfill now the prophecy that God told Abraham, who's buried in Hebron. And that's Abraham, who God said at the covenant that your descendants will be foreigners in the land. So here he was going to fulfill that journey because he sent Yosef to the dens, to the lion's den. He sent him to his brothers who everybody knew that they hated him. A place destined for displaced Shechem. Until today, the place destined for misfortune. There the tribes of Jacob sinned by beginning plotting to kill Yosef. Their Dinah had been violated. Later on in history, the kingdom of David was divided in Shechem. As it says, Rechavam went to Shechem. And on his way, he met a person. And he was wandering in the field. And the person asked him, Ma tevakish, what are you looking for? Rashi says this is an angel Gabriel, who it says, Veish Gabriel, and the man Gabriel. So we're talking here about an angel. He said, I'm looking for my brothers. Tell me, where are they pasturing? So they said, they have distanced themselves from here. Because I heard them saying, these guys, they were saying that we're going to go to Dason. And Yosef went after his brothers in Dason. And he found them in Dason. Now she said that he told them clearly, they have moved themselves from brotherhood. Let us define. Meanwhile, Daisena comes from the word Daisa. They're going to find a law, so to say, find for legal conspiration, as it means to put him to death. Medrash says that the brothers got together as a court and decided that they would have to they would put him to death. They illegally condemned him to death. Ufif Shute, and the simple meaning is Shem Makamu. It's a place called Dyson. Ve'ein Mikra Yetziv De Pshute. And the Torah, the verse never goes away from its literal sense. So Dyson is Dyson. Verse 18, they saw him from a distance. They told him Yikra before they came close, Aleim to them. They conspired against him to put him to death. Rashi says they were filled with conspiration and cunningness. Isai, Itai, with him, against him. And one guy said to the other, behold, look who's coming towards us. They saw the Hashgacha Pratis, the divine providence. Here they conspired to have him they made a court case, and he's coming. So let us go and kill him. And we'll throw him into one of the pits. And then we'll say, guy was killed by a wild animal. And we'll see what will be with his dreams. She says, Venira, Rabbi Yitzchak said this verse calls out for interpretation. This verse goes out for interpretation. What is their statement, Venira? In fact, it means actually the Eibishter is saying, the divine spirit is saying, the God is saying. The brothers are saying, let's kill him. And the Torah concludes, but we will see what will become of his dreams. So you want to kill him? Okay, we'll see how God runs the world. And whatever you conspire is not going to happen. So we'll see what will happen with the end of the story. But we'll see what will come of his dreams, and we'll see who the words will endure. Yours or mine? It is impossible, though that it was the brothers who said it. We will see what will come of his dreams. Because once they would kill him, his dreams would come to worthlessness. So they should have said it'll be the end of his dreams. But they said we'll see what, therefore the verse must be talking about that God says. You have to put a comma. And God says, oh, we will see what will happen with his dreams. Yishma Reuven, and Reuven heard them talking. And he saved them from their hands. And he said to them as the oldest son, we are not going to take with our hands and kill anybody. And therefore, striking his soul means that we're not going to give a blow to anybody. We're not going to kill anybody. And Reuven said to them, we should not shed any blood. And therefore, what we should do is throw him into a pit. We'll throw him into a pit, and we'll leave him in the pit till die because of starvation. As the Torah says, there was the scorpions and there was snakes in there. But we're not going to touch him. Hashem, but we're not going to kill him. Why? But he's ultimately going to die. So the Torah tells us what was in Reuven's thought. Because he said they're going to travel on. He'll go back and take him out of the pit, to bring him back to his father. Now she says the divine spirit testified. This is Ruach HaKodesh. How does the pasuk know what was in Reuven's mind? So there's many times that the pasuk, so to say, fills in the blank spaces and tells you exactly what's in Reuven's mind. About Reuven, when he said that it's only in order to save his brother. He didn't tell his brothers that, so that he can come later and pull him from there. He said to himself, I am the firstborn and the oldest of them all. The blemish will be ascribed only to me. So therefore, I take responsibility. The Gemara says that if Reuven would know, the Medrash says that if Reuven knew this pasuk would be in the Torah, he would have grabbed him and take him on his shoulders and take him back right away. He wouldn't even come up with throwing him in a pit. But Eibishter wanted Yosef to go down to Mitzrayim, self-understood, and therefore he didn't know that this verse would be in the pasuk. And this completes the Chumash for today. Okay, everybody, we're finishing the Tanya today. Today we come to a completion of the Tanya, the 9th essay in the Put Zachren. So we're gonna get ready a little Chaim, and we're gonna celebrate together the completion of the Tanya and learning together these beautiful teachings of the Alter Rebbe. I think this is the 4th year together. The verse says, in the Torah it says, you shall surely reprove your brother. I feel may upon him, and the Gemara says even 100 times. Taking up the hint offered by the repetitive form of Hebrew verb, therefore, the Alter Rebbe says, I cannot contain myself. I cannot refrain. To scream out, with a voice of pain, betraying pain and weakness. This is painful for me to say, but I have no choice. I have to scream this out. I plead to you out of deep compassion. Have pity on your souls. Take care, be extremely vigilant. Very vigilant. On the learning of Torah. On the service of the heart. Zu tefillah, which is prayer. Bekavana, with the proper intent. That when you come to shul, lahaskil kulam yachad ke'echad, you should begin the prayer in unison. Everybody should come to shul at the same time. Mila b'mila, you should say word for word the davening. Not one should be holding here and the other one should be holding there. And this guy is mute. That guy's talking. Hashem Yishmerenu, God should protect us. The Gemara says, the main cause and the instigator of damages comes from those who are leading the service. People think that this is thus given over to anybody. To snatch it, think that this is some kind of an honor to grab the Yomid. It's not like that. This is a serious matter. A shliach tzibur is not a joke. It's not an honor. It's a responsibility. Everybody's going up to the Amid because nobody wants to go to the Amid. So therefore they just pick anybody. And therefore I ask of you, if this is the reason, I'm giving you counsel, you should establish this in your synagogue. You should establish a law in the synagogue. You should not be violated, God forbid. You should establish fixed people who pray. That are capable of davening, capable of being the shliach tzibur, the one who davens, the one who's the chazan. Either should be a geidel. They should make a lottery that you go this week, I go that week, you this day, I go that way. Or what the majority of people like. They like a certain person to daven. And if people like him, then he should be the one to daven. And who needs to fit for this office? You should have a chazan that davens word for word. You shouldn't daven too fast. You shouldn't daven too slow. You should daven at a moderate pace. Not to prolong the davening too long. Shouldn't pray, shouldn't be racing and grabbing the words. God forbid. On these people that have the capability to daven, to pray, to be the chazan, They have an obligation to go before the ark, before the prayer bima. Every person in his day, which is responsibility. Well, less available, and then the people should gather around him. You should hear a murmur when you come to daven. You should hear people davening. You shouldn't walk into like you're walking into a library. You should come into daven. People should hear people davening. Should be not a loud voice. People don't have to scream. But there's a davening. You walk in, you feel there's a kol tefillah. There's a voice of davening. Yeah. They shouldn't be quiet. It should be there should be a murmur of davening. There should be a sound of prayer. Like when you go into a beis medrash, there's a sound of learning. There should be a sound of davening. As it's brought down, amplified in the old age regulations of many towns. I'm not, therefore, the Alter Rebbe said, I'm not coming to add anything, I'm coming to strengthen it. Right? I'm coming to renew them and to strengthen them and invigorate them. These takonas, these statutes, these laws that synagogues took upon themselves. Should never again weaken, God forbid. In the Hebrew, in the Yiddish, in the Tanya, the Alter Rebbe wrote, Gewalt, Gewalt. Gewalt, Gewalt. Only 2 words in Yiddish in the whole Tanya. Gewalt, Gewalt. Ad Masa Yozelon and Meikish, how long will this be an obstacle for us? How long will the burden by praying without proper intent? Is it not enough for all the reproof and all the troubles that have taken us? Hashem Yishmereinu, God should protect us. V'nachmeinu, should console us, b'kafayim tashir, with a double support. Yitayel Abenu, and He should He should purify our hearts. Love they be'emes, to serve God in truth. Strengthen and fortify your hearts. Whoever who hopes in God. We should complete the entire Shas, the entire Talmud every year. Custom the Alter Rebbe established that every community should complete the entire Shas, so communities should come together and complete the entire Shas. You have the Daf Yomi, which people complete the entire Shas over 7 years. Over here, the Alter Rebbe said, we're going to try to complete the entire Shas in the year. And the way you do it is if everybody takes a Masechta and they become part of a group, and now the group finishes the entire Shas. And that's what you do. Doing that for many, many years. So I become part of a group, and we complete the Shas. I take a Masechta, and you can, some places they even divide the Masechtas, because a Masechta can be 150 blot, 150 pages. So you can take a part of the Masechta, and you finish, the group finishes the entire Shas for Yutas Kislev this year to Yutas Kislev next year. And that was something that the Alter Rebbe established in his life, and it continues till today, Chalukas HaShas, the dividing of the Shas in communities around the world. In every community, they should apportion the tractate by either by lot or by consent. Everybody take a Masechta, and they have a whole year to learn that Masechta. And you can find a small Masechta, Makkah 30, 40 pages. You don't have to pick a big Masechta, big tractate. You can find a smaller tractate, and you can finish the whole tractate. And that's the beauty. Now you came part of this group, and you completed the Shas together. And that's the beauty. And if the congregation is too small to implement such a program, like an hour shul, it'll be impossible to do this. So you have to come together with another shul. It's time for you should connect to another group. This I ask you should do this, and you should do this always. Continue to do this. We continue to do this. And in addition, each and every participant shall individually read he should read the entire eightfold palm of 119 every week. Chapter 119 of Tillim. The Frierdiker Rebbe comments on the connection between completing the study of Talmud and the saying of Tillim as follows. From here, we see that the study of Gemara is complete only when it's accompanied with Tillim. And in order to recite Psalms properly, you need to study Gemara. So you see, the Alter Rebbe connects these two things. The beauty of chapter 119 is we know because it has every letter of the Hebrew alphabet, and it has not only one time, it has 8 times every letter. So within it, we know whenever we talk yard sites or these things, within it you have the names of every person in the world, and therefore it's important. The Alter Rebbe felt it's important to say the eightfold, to say the whole Kufyutes, which is 8, which has within it 8 times the Hebrew alphabet. And since we are in the frail times, we are not such strong people, and not everybody's capable of fasting. Not everybody's capable of fasting the way they should. In the Geras HaTshuva, if you remember, the Alter Rebbe cites the classical works of Musar as to the number of fasts prescribed for each major sin that a person does. He'll be able to render him acceptable for God after his repentance. It's like a korban. Like the korban, when the Jewish people would bring korbanos, they would first do tshuva, and then they would ask God. They would bring a korban, a sacrifice. So today, it's the tzedakah that's the korban. So what do you do today? Today, the fast is the korban. I'm sorry, the fast is the korban because it's like bringing the fat to the mizbeach. If you remember, just like the korban, you brought your fat to the mizbeach. So fasting takes up the person's bodily fat. Therefore, the Alter Rebbe says, I'm going to give you the following declaration of our sages. Whoever observes the Shabbos according to its law, he's forgiven on all his sins. But it has to be kilchasa dafka, according to its law. It's used wisely, for the Shabbos cannot be properly observed without knowing its law. Therefore, it's incumbent on every individual to master the great law of Shabbos. The term great law echoes an expression of Gemara regarding checking one's clothes before sundown on Friday in order to not transgress that he's carrying something. The laws of Shabbos thus are not only inform us what is prohibited, but also how to avoid transgression. We have to know exactly what's the laws of Shabbos. 39 malachas of Shabbos, very complex, especially as now in modern times, it's extremely complex, and we need to know, everybody needs to know what the laws are. And a person should be careful on Shabbos. He should not indulge in idle chatter on Shabbos, God forbid. Because it's known to those who study Kabbalah that in all mitzvahs, you know this all, we have learned this many times, yesh pnimius, yesh chitzonius. There's the inner part of the mitzvah and there's the outer part of the mitzvah. What's in the Shabbos? Chitzonius HaShabbos. What's the outer, what's the external aspect of Shabbos? Yeshvisa is the law of Shabbos, 39 malachas. Means that there are 39 works you're not allowed to do on Shabbos. Masi is gashmis. These are physical things. That is the outer aspect of the mitzvah. As we say in our Kiddush, as God didn't work on Shabbos, so to say. Making the heavens and the earth. Pnimis HaShabbos. And what's the pnimius? What is the inner dimension of Shabbos? Ubetalmud Torah. L'dafka b'avaya echad. The pnimis is, the Rebbe said, don't do physical work, do spiritual work. That's the pnimis of Shabbos. Not don't do physical work and sleep a whole day. That's not Shabbos. So therefore, the pnimis of Shabbos is the learning of Shabbos, the davening of Shabbos, the cleaving to God on Shabbos, Avos Yisrael on Shabbos. Meshakos of Shabbos Hashem Elokecha, as the pasuk itself says. Shabbos is to God. What do you mean Shabbos is to God? Shabbos is to man. Shabbos is to God. Underlying the cessation of labor on Shabbos is the concept of elevation. When a person rests from his labor at any time, the energy that is vested in it rises and returns to the source within the soul. So too, the cessation of labor and resting on Shabbos means that the soul, which during the week has been immersed in mundane activities, is uplifted. Shabbos Lavaya. It's a Shabbos to God. It's time for our souls to be uplifted. It's time for our souls to connect to higher dimensions. And this is the concept of Zachar Shem Shabbos. Remember the day of Shabbos. Shomer v'Zachar. Shabbos comprises of two elements. Remember, Zachar. Shomer, observe. Reflecting the two commandments. Remember the day of Shabbos to sanctify it. And observe the Shabbos day to sanctify it. Elevating the soul on Shabbos through proper intent, during prayer, Torah study, is remembering the Shabbos. What is the concept of Shomer, of protecting the Shabbos, observing the Shabbos? So the inner thing is, the outer concept is don't do malach on Shabbos. Don't do work on, don't do the 39 works on Shabbos. What is the inner part? Is to be careful what you say on Shabbos. Because how did God create the world? He created through dibur. He created through speech. So the inner concept of God's creation is a speech. So what is the inner concept of our creation? Speech. And therefore we shouldn't be talking about mundane things on Shabbos. We should only be talking about spiritual things on Shabbos. Hashem, just like God. What did God rest for? Not my mothers. For the 10 utterances, which God created the heavens and the earth. He created it through speech. So too, we should not talk physical talk, mundane talk on Shabbos. So the external aspect of observing is refraining from active labor. The internal aspect of observing is refraining from speaking of gashmis, seeking mundane things on Shabbos. Because one is opposite to the other. Speaking about material affairs on Shabbos is a verse of the rest of the elevation that a Jew secures on Shabbos through prayer and study. Therefore, Shama v'Zachar b'dibar echad. Shama v'Zachar b'dibar echad. Even though in Exodus it says Zachar Shema Shabbos. In the Deuteronomy it says Shomer Shema Shabbos. Gemara says Shomer Zachar b'dibar echad. It was said in one thing because both of them go together. You can't have Zachar if you don't have Shomer. You can't have Shomer if you don't have Zachar. They go together, and therefore, concept of resting on Shabbos is talking holiness on Shabbos. It's separating yourself from the mundane and davening and learning and coming together for bringing and that's what Shabbos is all about. And now we can say, oh, L'chaim, we have finished the Tanya for the 4th time together. And L'chaim, L'chaim,
L'chaim uvracha.
Tanya together, the Rebbe should give us that we should have another good year in the learning of Tanya and the spirit of Tanya, and we should celebrate together, learning together. L'chaim, L'chaim.
L'chaim.
L'chaim, L'chaim. Tovim and Shalom.
Okay.
L'chaim.
Baruch Hashem.
More learning together.
I now give Mashiach.
We'll start all the way from the beginning of Tanya again. That's it. We'll start again.
And Mashiach should arrive soon.
And what?
Mashiach should arrive soon.
Amen. Let me just do that. Let me just do the Tillim of today. It's chapter for the 18th day of Kislev. It's chapter 88 and 89. By Mincha, we don't say Tachnun, the Rebbe writes. Yutas Kislev, that Tzemach Tzedek writes, the love expressed, besides you, I wish nothing, means that one should desire nothing other than God, not even the heavens or the earth, meaning the higher Gan Eden and lower Gan. I don't want your Gan Eden. I don't want your higher Gan Eden. I don't want your lower Gan Eden. I want you. For they were created in a mere letter of Yud. The upper Gan Eden was created with the letter Yud. The love is to be directed to God alone, for He is very being and essence. This is the action expressed by Master and Teacher, the Alter Rebbe, when he would state in the Devekis, he would state the following statement, and he explained as follows: I want nothing at all. He said in Yiddish, Ich will gar nicht. I don't want your Gan Eden. I don't want your paradise. I don't want your Olam Haba. I don't want your will to come. I want nothing but you alone. Agud Yontiv, we say, may we be described and sealed for a good year in the study of Chassidus and the ways of Chassidus. My dear friends, we shall have a great Yontiv in Mitzvah. Everybody's invited tonight, 7:30. Come and Fabring, get this Kislev. The Alter Rebbe said, whoever will celebrate my day, Yom-Yittas Kislev, I will drag him out of any situation. I will bring him out of any kind of situation. And this is a great celebration. And especially those that will learn together in Tanya, we should come together tonight in Fabring and say L'chaim for the Alter Rebbe, for his teachings, and promise the Alter Rebbe that we're going to continue. And we're going to redeem ourselves by learning Tanya. We redeem ourselves. Tanya elevates us and redeems us from all headaches and troubles because we connect to God. Alter Rebbe teaches us how to connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So I wish you all a good Yontiv. And don't say Tachtun tomorrow, wherever you are. Alter Rebbe said, don't say Tachtun, don't say any Tachtun. It's a Yontiv. And we should celebrate a good Yontiv, everybody. Mitchum tomorrow. We're going to start the Tanya again. It's the beginning of the introduction of Tanya. I want you to invite everybody to come and start the Tanya with us. You can tell them they can come by Friday. That's when actually the actual Tanya starts. It's Friday, is the first chapter of Tanya. But tomorrow we start the beginning of Tanya, the introduction of Tanya. And Mitzvah Hashem will have another great year of learning together, chitas together. One of the greatest things that came out of COVID came out of this group over here, learning Chassidus together, learning Chumash together every day. I'm sure the Eibishter has a lot of nachas for this learning of togetherness of Chassidus together. So also I'm changing this year. I'm going to move this thing to my own private Facebook. I think more people will learn if I move it to my private Facebook, and because more people respond to my private Facebook than to this the other Facebook that I usually use. So I'm going to move it to my private Facebook so we can connect to my private Facebook. I think it'll be easier also for me. Facebook is giving me problems, so hopefully that this will alleviate this issue.